Hello and welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Ankita Mukherjee. In the middle of a tragedy of immense magnitude, our politicians have done it again. Congress and Telugu Desam Party leaders coming to blows over who will fly flood survivors home. As we watch those disgraceful images tonight, we ask, as politicians fight over relief, are our jawans our only hope? Also on the show today, the rupee falls below 60 to $1. Is it now in free fall, and just where is this going to end? But first, we begin with those pictures tonight. Despicable, disgraceful politics in the midst of a national tragedy. Congress MP Hanumant Rao and Telugu Desam Party MP Ramesh Rathod pushed and shoved each other to grab a batch of people who were brought to Dehradun airport after being rescued from the floods in Uttarakhand. In a bizarre gesture of staking claim, both wanted to fly home the survivors who are from Andhra Pradesh. The pictures really say it all. On the one hand, politicians desperate to take credit. On the other, our jawans who are engaged in this heroic effort to locate and help thousands of people stranded in the state. Quiet, selfless dedication even after losing their own. Remember, 20 people died in that chopper crash just yesterday. The Air Force says their rescue efforts will continue undeterred. The latest disgusting display coming as politicians of our biggest parties bicker over VVIP visits and flood relief. The Congress and the BJP spending days arguing over the visits to Uttarakhand by Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi. But really, these images signifying a new low in the politics of one-upmanship. We ask tonight, as politicians bicker and come to blows, are our jawans the only ones setting an example by their heroism, their dedication and their service? Well, joining us on our discussion tonight, two of our most distinguished former service chiefs, General VP Malik, former Chief of Army Staff, Air Chief Marshal Fali H. Major, Sanjay Jha from the Congress, Nalin Kohli from the BJP, and Ajay Shukla, Consulting Editor, Strategic Affairs of the Business Standard, joining us on this debate tonight. But General VP Malik, let me begin with you. Do you believe that by descending to such disgraceful, disgusting displays, our politicians are actually just trivializing the kind of dedication, the kind of sacrifice we're seeing from our jawans?
Our forces, they have been on the forefront now for the last 10 days. And the whole country has watched in the manner that they have carried out the missions with such dedication, with high discipline, with a lot of compassion, everything that a nation can look for amongst its services, amongst its jawans. And first of all, I must convey my great sense of pride in the manner in which they have carried out their task, in the manner in which they are still carrying out their task with great sense of high discipline, lot of compassion. And the images that you have just now shown me about these congressmen and others fighting with each other, the politicians fighting with each other, all I can say that disgraceful, and I think they need to learn a great deal from the armed forces, their sense of discipline and their sense of dedication.
Chief Fali Major, would you agree that this is a moment when the dead bodies are still being counted, where the full extent of the tragedy is still unfolding in front of our very eyes? At this point, politicians coming to blows at an airport about who gets the credit to take survivors home. When your people, when your boys on the ground see these images, what is it that they're thinking at the moment? Do you believe that it's affecting their morale negatively?
I do not know if the television channels in this country have the technology not to show these images when a dedicated operation like the search and rescue rehabilitation operation is going on in Uttarakhand. But having said that, let me say that it is most disgusting. And also, these people should realize that every time they land up in areas where such a concerted effort is going on to rescue people, save their lives, they should stay away because they are of absolutely no help there.
Well, not only are they
Let me say
not
that
helping, they're actively hindering almost.
they shouldn't be there. I mean, I don't know what good comes out of them being there. It only hampers operations because you dedicate the kind of security and air and ground effort to move them around. That should never ever happen when a critical operation is going on.
Sanjay Jha, when you see these pictures tonight, do you concede that all over the country, the perception is only going to be that when disasters strike, our governments fail, our politicians fail hopelessly, as we are seeing in these pictures, it's really only our jawans that we can turn to?
You know, Ankita, honestly, today I thought we were going to be discussing the role of the NDMA and what could be done to prevent.
Well, certainly we will look ahead to that. Unfortunately, these images have
of a natural disaster.
I will. These images have really sort of taken over the debate.
No, I therefore want to add to what has been already said. Yeah, I know. I need to add 2 points here. Number one, there is no denying the outstanding and absolutely extraordinary support that the services, the armed forces, and all the staff members, some whom we don't possibly even know of, who are doing an amazing job to rescue and provide all the support to people who have been stranded and those who have even lost their lives, to their kith and kin, etc. The second point, there cannot be any debate on this. I mean, if any individual or a group of people indulges in any activity that appears, frankly speaking, pedestrian, that has to be condemned. End of day, I'll give an example. I was in the US a few weeks ago, and I remember when there was a tornado in Oklahoma. Now that's a Republican state, you have a Democrat president. But when people, have any kind of a natural crisis of alarming proportions, they come together.
But
it also
how do you respond to the Air Chief Marshal's
argument? So, I mean, these are lessons
really,
for everyone to learn from.
No, certainly, absolutely. But how do you respond to the Air Chief Marshal's argument that really these are times when there are critical operations going on, when frankly, the attention of the forces shouldn't be shifted away from the work at hand at all, and that just by their very presence, politicians are adding to an already extremely troubled situation. Then when you see them bickering, engaging in public brawls, where does that leave the forces who are actually engaged in real work on the ground?
I honestly feel that, I already said, any political party, any worker, anyone, I mean, we have gone very aggressively condemning some of the misdemeanors or the very, very poor quality comments coming up from Mr. Narendra Modi. I think as a party, we have condemned that very strongly. So we stand by the same commitment. I think there is a bigger point here.
No,
I think
what
that
is this
was already
commitment?
mentioned
Will
earlier,
the party take
that,
action
we
against...
should not divert from what I think is... No, 1 minute.
No,
Ankita, let me point out, there is a bigger gargantuan effort going on ground that requires greater focus than a skirmish by a couple of people, which I think is irrelevant to the larger rescue efforts being done.
Absolutely.
I mean, let me tell you, ask anybody, they will tell you, anybody from any political party who indulges in anything which gives an unpleasant taste has to be condemned. There cannot be a debate on that.
But
the point
is
I'm
your
making
party
is, let
also
us not
going to take
divert
immediate
our
action?
attention
Are you going to
from
sack
where
this
we think
member?
is an appreciable effort to get things back on track.
But is your party actually going to take action?
Let me tell you, to be very frank, I was outside till I came to your... No, I was outside of this till I came for the program. I cannot comment on something that I haven't seen. But what I can tell you right now is our primary focus must be and should be, we have maintained that from the very beginning, must be on the continued rescue, continued relief to people who need that, as well as rehabilitation for everyone, both the pilgrims as well as those who locally live there.
I want your reaction to this.
I think there's a massive
also.
challenge for all of us here to look at as a society.
I think that's a very powerful message. Unfortunately, it comes on a day when members of Mr. Jha's party have been caught on camera, engaging in this kind of disgraceful behavior. But really, is this service to the nation when politicians go to disaster areas? Isn't there a more peaceful, dignified way of conducting yourself?
Well, Ankita, I have a few comments to make. Irrespective, which is the party, and I'm not going to start taking brownie points that, they are members of the Congress or the TDP. Irrespective of any party, if a political person is in any kind of behavior which is unbecoming of them, it's terrible, because they also are role models, and they are also, in terms of, high representatives of people. Second comment is, so this is absolutely disgraceful, it's despicable, there's no question about it. The second point is that in terms of the jawans, they're doing a fantastic job, but I think we also need to applaud the unsung heroes who are villagers who have, given rations out of their own home, where actually there have been cases of some people who have looted, but look at people, a grocery woman, taking out everything from home. So I think you need to record that too. The third is, of course, the operations have to continue, and the question about political role. I think unfortunately what's happened is, over the years, because we see so many large examples of poor political behavior, and let's not restrict it to any party, generally speaking, the standards of expectations have gone down very low from the political class. But reality is that civil administration comes directly under the political leadership, and civil administration has to be led also. For example, administrative failure can take place, and there are examples, again I'm saying it in a bipartisan manner, across the political spectrum, people who have great capacity to lead under disasters, and it happens. It's not just about the BJP.
I think I'd like to get the service chiefs in on this. I want to take this to Air Chief Marshal Fali Major, if I may. The point that's being made about working closely with the civilian administration in situations like this, where do you feel those boundaries lie? Could the armed forces perhaps, just get to disaster areas quicker if they had a centralized chain of command, if it didn't have to work perhaps with other agencies, with multiple agencies, and in a sense report to a civilian leadership?
It is immaterial who you report to. What matters is a very well institutionalized command and control structure,
right,
which involves the whole of government for massive operations like this. And let me give you an example. The moment, at least I know, that in the Air Force, and I'm sure it's the same in the Army and also the paramilitary forces, that the moment a situation like this arises, the first thing that you do is you get a task force commander, you send him there and ask him to control the operations. He's the only man. He's a one-point contact for control of operations. Similarly, the ground forces, everybody else does the same. But what I'm trying to say is that this is a national effort. It is not the effort of the Army, Air Force, or the Navy. It is a national effort, and therefore, I cannot understand as to what our national disaster management system does. Whether it has the authority to control such operations, I'm not very sure. But what I'm trying to say is that we need central control. We don't need people going up and down, because just see the resources you block up when you have these kind of people going into disaster areas.